So GMAT critical reasoning. Well, before we start with solving critical reasoning question and understanding what critical reasoning is all about, so let's take a quick overview about this particular topic and let's try to understand what are the type of questions that are being asked in the GMAT or verbal section of a GMAT, as well as let's try to go through the approach that we'll be following that will help you get a score that you want to get in the GMAT. So moving ahead. Well, the first of thing is very important for everyone to remember, like and basically is to understand what are the type of critical reasoning questions that are being asked in the GMAT verbal section. Well, the number one and the most of the people are very familiar with this type of question, like identifying the assumption in the question. Maybe they are also asking you to what are the things that would actually strengthen or weaken the conclusion. Another type of question that comes is to identify the conclusion. They will a passage would be given, maybe some argument would be there, or some type of information would be shared, and you will be asked to identify which one of this is a particular is the conclusion or is not a conclusion, because on the basis of a passage there might be multiple conclusion that you could draw. So we have to identify what are the things are conclusion are a part of conclusion and what are the things are not. Other is deduce the conclusion is also a type of conclusion, but it's a different from identifying the conclusion, and we will learn more about when we are building our strong foundation for it. And conclusion inferences, people are like they are very, like they get very confused about where the conclusion and inferences part. But here's the thing: inference is something not stated directly, but you could deduce from the given information that hey, this could be a particular thing. But it depends from point of view to point of view, and also on the depends on the what information is being shared in the passage or in the question. But a conclusion is something that exists in the passage throughout, so that is something that we have to identify and understand the basic differences that exist. And other two types are like resolving the paradox or mimicking the question. Well, why I have listed out the type of critical reasoning question that are being asked? The simple reason is that these are the only questions that are being asked in the verbal section. This is a type, okay? And if you see, the critical reasoning weightage is approximately 30 to 40%. So and 10 to 12 questions could be asked given the as per the exam. And why it is very important is that one could actually learn those concepts clearly, build the foundation that is needed for you to solve, and get the marks that will help you get your verbal score of V45 or more than that, which will help you up your score, GMAT score, by 20-40 points. For example, you could actually practice those questions, and it will not be depending on what is the type of question that is being asked. It will solely depend on what is the level of your preparation when it comes to critical reasoning. And believe me, this is one of the easiest topic. All the questions in the verbal section, let's assume that like a RC as well as a sentence correction might take a longer time for you to solve. But if you are practicing and approaching the critical reasoning section really well, you will be able to solve this question, solve this part within a minute or at most a minute. So just imagine, after 60 out of 66 minutes, you are able to get it done only in 12 minutes. That 12 minutes is sufficient for you to get started and to complete the critical section part. And that's why it is very important for you to master it. And how to, like, what is the approach? Well, there are two approaches that I have seen people following. This is one of the famous approaches. When I ask like, hey, what is a how are you preparing for your critical reasoning section, they will say that hey, I'm just opening my GMAT official or Manhattan, I'm just solving the questions. That's it. They directly approach the question. And this is where the problem exists. Though they are able to solve it, they might be able to get it at the 70% accuracy, and some may be at 90% accuracy, 80% accuracy. But that's it. That's the limitation of doing and just solving the questions. Even if you solve 1,000 or 10,000 of questions, that's the limitation that exists here. Okay, but there is other approach that I recommend every my student to follow. Is simple, like learn the basic strategy for solving critical reasoning question, and approach solving entire critical reasoning preparation logically. And that's what we are going to do. We are going to understand the basics, and then we are going to approach it more in a logical manner, and because that's a critical reasoning after all. And this is the our approach. We'll be building we will start with the basics. This is a three-stage approach where we'll be building a foundation for solving critical reasoning questions, and we'll be focusing on building concepts. That's it. Once we are done with this, we'll enter the pro stage. Here, don't forget, and here at the pro stage, we'll be giving you 600 and 700 plus questions for each type of critical reasoning question. And this is where things would change. Even if you are practicing these questions and you're able to get it 90% of questions right, just think that you will be able to solve, you will be able to jump your verbal section by 20-30 per point. Similarly, for once you are done with the pro part, we'll be moving to the pro plus. This is where the magic will happen, that will help you get 100%. And this is the strategy. This is where we are going to focus on building our strategies. So let's get started then. Why to wait? CR basics. Let's build a strong foundation together.